thank you, Bobby Kelton, and thank you, everyone. And welcome to the Miami Seaquarium. You've heard of the Silver Dome, the King Dome, the Astrodome. Well, this afternoon, we're in the Sea Lion Dome for the Diet Pepsi Talent Challenge, a showdown to determine pro football's most talented entertainer. With us today, 5 of pro football's best, all gunning for a $50,000 in prize money that'll go to charity. Now, we all know that these guys can play football. What you don't know is that they all are very, very talented in other ways. They can sing, dance, do impressions, play the piano, and just downright perform. We hope. And if they can't play the piano, at least some of these guys can carry it up a flight of stairs. Right now, though, I want to introduce you to my special co-host, a very funny man. He was a star of SCTV, and over the last few years, he's made quite a splash in the motion picture industry. In fact, he took time out of a new John Hughes movie called Uncle Buck that he's currently filming in Chicago to be with us today. And he's starring in another movie, Who's Harry Crumb, due out February 3rd. Ladies and gentlemen, put them together and say hello to Mr. John Candy.
Thank you. Thank you, Ahmad.
Nice to see you.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. Actually, you did forget to mention one thing. I'll be appearing at it's Al's Fish Emporium. I'm doing a dinner theater show here. It's Les Miserables. It's a 4-person company. It's kind of a fast food thing. You eat, and then 15 minutes of the show, and then you're out. We're trying it out. I'd like to work a little bit, you know.
It's sort of like the Cliff Notes of Les Miserables.
Yes. Yeah, we're trying it out. It's abbreviated theater, dinner theater. But, you know, what about this show? Thank you for inviting me to this. This is great. What a special day it is today.
You're welcome. Now, you haven't been down here a long time, but have you been enjoying yourself?
Well, what I've been doing a lot of is really signing John Madden autographs. I'm getting a lot of those. I don't know why either. I have no idea why.
All right, you're here.
But I'm having a great time today. I just flew in from Chicago today.
All right, you've been working nonstop. Let's put you to work right now, and you go ahead and introduce our first contestant.
Wonderful, thank you. You're putting me to work right away. Okay. Our first finalist is a 4-year veteran wide receiver from the Los Angeles Rams. Unfortunately, he spent much of this season on the injured reserve, but that did give him a lot of chance to practice what he's about to perform.
It's like Bob Greasy was when he led us to the Super Bowl win, where you have to have the entire offense going for you. Complete control of the running game, the play-action pass, and then mixing in the short yardage play-action pass, and then the drop-back pass. Marino's a gunslinger. He likes to drop straight back where he sees the defense coming in. He knows where the linebackers are. He senses the pressure, and he gets rid of the football. He very rarely ever gets caught with a football. When you go play action like Montana, you're apt to get hit from the blind side, and he's had some sacks, and that's the reason for some of his injuries. But he's the quarterback that runs a complete offense. Marino likes to throw the football.
From a coach's standpoint, almost impossible to disguise coverages against Montana. He reads so well.
He really does, but the play action, you have to be faking to the back, and when you come out of the play action, if the blitz comes, you could be susceptible.
All right, let's talk about his opposite number today, Boomer Esiason. The MVP, no question about that, and the highest rated passer over the course of the season in the entire league, but he did most of his damage the first 6-7 weeks, and really the last 4 or 5 weeks, his numbers have not been that impressive, Paul, and when he has thrown, it's been to the backs, Ickey and James Brooks more often than not, maybe to the tight end Holman. He hasn't gone deep to Eddie Brown and Tim McGee like he did early in the year.
I don't think he's had to. Ickey Woods has made the big difference in his performance. Here's a young man, Boomer Esiason, who I think has improved 100% over last year. Last year, Sam Weiss was not only the quarterback coach, but was the head coach. And Boomer had no one to talk to, Bob. You know, if you have someone to lay all your heat on and then let him go to the head coach with it, he just didn't have that guy. He does now. He got away from from Cincinnati for like 3 months, came back. He's absolutely fine, but I think the maturity of Boomer Esiason is 100% over last year.
All right, moving on to another compelling topic. It is obvious that Don Shula lives here in Miami. And, Paul, you're approaching that age when you might consider moving down here, too. So the two of you will want to watch this next piece with particular interest. As you may know, Miami is also the residence of NBC's Golden Girls, exactly the group of people you'd expect to see on the Super Bowl. But, like most Americans, those sassy senior citizens has settled in to watch the game. And I guess you've figured out by now that we're about to look in on them. Let's join them, shall we?
Twilight of his career. For the better part of a decade, he and roommate Paul Hornung had solidified their reputation as good guys after a good time.
They were like two peas in a pod. They were our Peck's bad boys, our bachelors, the guys that always came in on the morning after the game looking like they'd been out all night until an hour or so before the practice or before they came into the training room, and they had.
After a night out on the town before Super Bowl I, Destiny proceeded to point a tired finger at the little-used wide receiver. Not expected to play, he came in to replace the injured Boyd Dowler. 7 receptions and 2 touchdowns later, the man who thought he'd be riding the bench was riding high, the hero of Super Bowl I.
He snuck out and had a date the night before a game. He knew he wasn't going to play. He came in very early in the morning and was surprised when Lombardi hollered his name on the sidelines. McGee was forced to go into the ball game. He didn't even carry his helmet.
I didn't know where my helmet was. You know, I wasn't expecting to play, so I grabbed a guy's helmet. I don't remember who it was, but it's about twice too big. So I played the first series in some lineman's helmet.
Throughout his career, Max McGee had a knack for being in the right place at the right time. And that good fortune followed him when his playing days were over. The 5th and youngest child of a poor family, he went on to become a wealthy man through various business ventures that included a popular chain of Mexican restaurants. Max McGee lives part of the year in Minneapolis and spends the rest of the time here in Scottsdale, Arizona. He has led a full and eventful life, but now at age 56, he is into a new chapter, one that in a very special way has more meaning for him than anything else that came before. Meet Maxwell McGee, going on 3, the apple of his parents' eye and a child who has already fought and won some tremendous battles. 5 years ago, Max met and married his second wife, Denise, a woman 20 years his junior. Little Maxwell was born with Down syndrome, a genetic disorder resulting in varying degrees of mental retardation. Maxwell had physical complications as well, heart and intestinal problems that required emergency surgery and left the infant gravely ill, fighting for his life.
We were dealing with death, you know, and we really just wanted him to live. At that point, Down syndrome was not an issue at all. It was just that we wanted our baby to live.
Fortunately, he had a great mother. I mean, she went, when he wasn't supposed to make it, you know, he sat there and held her little finger there all night, you know, on the night that, I do, you know, I don't hate to talk about it. Sometimes I get a little choked up, but it's been a revelation since Maxwell's been here, because once he got, you know, we got all the things straightened out, he has just been more fun to us. I've enjoyed that more than all the 5 World Championships. And you say that, but it's really the truth. He is more fun to me than anything.
He adores Maxwell. He's like the light of his life. I mean, I see it in his eyes when he looks at him, and when Maxwell smiles at him or gives him a hug or anything, he's ecstatic about him.
You're right, he's not going to play for the Green Bay Packers, but it doesn't make any difference. This guy, you know, when he puts his arm around you, and it's something that if you could put it in a bottle, I mean, you'd be the richest person in the world.
Max and Denise McGee are expecting another child this year, and prenatal tests have told them it will be a boy. He will not have Down syndrome. They feel he will be Maxwell's protector in life, helping him to fight the battles that are yet to come. And we will return with more of our NFL Live Super Bowl pregame show right after.
Super Bowl, Ken Stabler led the Raiders to victory over the Vikings in January of '77, 32-14. That was Super Bowl 11 for the Snake, John Madden, Clarence Davis, and the rest as they rolled over Minnesota. Now we're just more than an hour from kickoff in a game that more than 120 million Americans are expected to watch. Advertisers salivate at the thought of reaching an audience that big. So through the years, the Super Bowl has been the stage for some of the most dramatic and most expensive commercials in television history. Witness this year's Bud Bowl. This year, as a matter of fact, the airtime alone for a 60-second commercial during the game costs $1.35 million. And NBC wants me to fly coach to Chicago. Go figure. Among the recent blockbusters was Apple Computer's commercial for the 1984 Super Bowl. The theme was George Orwell's novel, 1984. The commercial was a mini epic directed by Ridley Scott, who'd done the movie Alien. It cost $500,000 to make the one-minute commercial, but the results were spectacular. Its scale rivaled the most lavish Hollywood productions. Now, Apple only ran the whole commercial once on network television.
We shall prevail.
But it did the job.
Well, the results were so overwhelming that, frankly, I'm not sure we could have kept up with the demand based on the fact that so many people saw it on the Super Bowl. We had over 200,000 people lined up outside of authorized Apple retailers the day after the commercial aired. So once was certainly enough in this case.
2 years later, Timex, between production costs and airtime expense, spent $2.3 million for 60 seconds.
We decided to do it on location in Eilat in Israel on the Red Sea. And the reason we did that is because the Red Sea is a very clear body of water, and it has a flat surface. We hired a director in London and some set builders from the London Theatre District who built a watch approximately the size of a two-story colonial home. And we choreographed it from a yacht that we had specially equipped so that we could see them underwater. And in a day's time, we would get about 4 or 5 seconds of film. It took us about 2 weeks to film it. On hindsight, in reviewing the economics, we found it was well worth it.
This year, the Coca-Cola Company has gone high-tech. You'll see the halftime show and the Coke commercial in 3D if you've picked up your special eyeglasses at a local distributor.
We have a slightly darker lens over the right eye, a lighter lens over the left eye. And essentially what the darker lens does is it slows down the signal that goes to the brain of what the eye is seeing, so that in fact what the right eye sees and registers in the brain actually happened just a split second later than what the left eye had seen. Once you've seen the technology, and a lot of consumers have seen this technology now, we've talked to a lot of them, a lot of television people have seen this technology, to a man and to a woman, everybody that sees it loves it.
But perhaps the biggest commotion was caused by a 60-second break that actually cost absolutely nothing to produce. You remember it. It was NBC's Silent Minute, a 60-second pause in the build-up to Super Bowl 20 between the Bears and the Patriots. A chance for viewers to head for the kitchen or take care of whatever business that was compelling at the moment, or perhaps just briefly reflect on the nature of reality. Columnists wrote about it, Carson joked about it, and everybody talked about it, proving that sometimes silence speaks loudly indeed. We're going to step aside here for just a moment, but when we come back, you didn't think we could get through a 2-hour Super Bowl pregame without an Icky Wood.